The shot shows the outside of a large academy, as a voice narrates. My name is Spike Drake, and I am 15 years old. I'm smart, honest, helpful, and kind. I'm also somewhat shorter than most teens my age, which results in a lot of others mistaking me for a kid. This is where I'll be going to school, Canterlot Academy. This place is actually an all-girls academy, so not a guy in the whole student body, even the faculty is almost all women. So how is it a boy like me wound up attending an all-girls school? Well, I'll tell ya. The principal and vice principal of this school decided it was time for a change and decided to see if this school could become co-ed. But before they could make that decision a permanent thing, they decided to put it to the test. They searched the local schools outside the academy for a boy who's smart and dedicated. Then entered me. I got a request form from the principal and vice principal about the plan, and at first I was unsure, knowing how awkward it could be for one guy to be in an all-girls academy, until I learned my parents had to move overseas because of a job transfer. I liked where we live and wasn't exactly thrilled about the idea of moving. Too bad they already made plans to sell the house. I checked the form again and said I would be required to live on campus. Without a job I couldn't pay for our house myself, so what did I have to lose? Outside the academy gate stood a short boy with green spiked hair. He was wearing sneakers, jeans, a green short-sleeved shirt, and a purple short-sleeved unbuttoned shirt over it. It was the narrator himself, Spike Drake. He looked up at the academy building and spoke to himself. Okay, Spike, this is it. First day of a new school. Don't be an idiot. He took a deep breath and started walking forward. As he walked his way to the building, he looked around, seeing girls right from left all dressed in the Canterlot Academy uniform. They had the standard footwear. Socks that went up to their knees, blue short skirts with star patterns around the bottom, long-sleeved white button-down shirts, black ribbons on the collar, black button-down corsets and shoulder capes. Spike occasionally took hardly noticeable glances at the girls, noticing that a majority of them had well-endowed figures and nice legs, which didn't help his hormones. As he walked, he noticed the girls were also giving him glances and looks as well. He could hear faint gossiping about why a boy would be at their school. He ignored the gossip and continued on before entering the building. Inside, he looked at a map. Now let's see, the principal's office should be right down this hall. He followed the directions. As he walked down the hall, he passed a group of 6 girls. One girl had long dark purple hair with a single pink streak in it. The second had large pink poofy hair that looked like cotton candy. The third had long rainbow-colored hair. The fourth had blonde hair in a ponytail with a red rubber band tied at the bottom, freckles on her face, and a cowboy hat on her head. The fifth had purple-colored hair done up in girls, and a 3-diamond hair clip in it. And the sixth one had long pale pink hair that covered her side of her face. When the 2 sides passed, the group of girls stopped and turned around, seeing the one who passed them continued onward. The girl with the purple hair spoke up in shock. Girls, are my eyes playing tricks on me, or was that a boy? Either that or I'm hallucinating too. The girl with the hat spoke in a Western accent. That's not a hallucination, girls, the dark purple-haired girl answered. That is a boy in our school. The poofy-haired one asked. Why would a boy be here in our school? The long pink-haired girl asked. I don't know, the rainbow-haired girl said, suspiciously. So let's find out why. She approached, with the girls following her. Spike was still looking at the map of the halls, trying to find the principal's office. Just up ahead and he lowered the map down, only to come face to face with the girl with the poofy hair. Hi, Spike let out a startled cry as he slipped and landed on his ass. The girl looked down at him and asked, is that how you greet everyone you meet? Not exactly, he answered, while still a bit startled. Are you okay? Another voice asked. Spike looked up and saw it was the other 5 girls who passed him. The one who spoke was the girl with the single pink streak in her hair. She offered him her hand, and he accepted it. When he was pulled back to his feet, he answered, yeah, I'm fine. Sorry about Pinky. She does that around new faces. The girl explained. You don't say, he asked. As he looked at the girl named Pinky who was grinning, the rainbow-haired girl spoke up. Hey pal, you know this is an academy for girls, don't ya? Of course I do, he answered. So then why are you here? She got into his face, only to get pulled back by the purple-haired girl. Rainbow Dash, don't be so rude. She turned to Spike. Don't mind Rainbow. Darling, she's just always so suspicious. Now if a lady may ask, could you tell us your name? My name's Spike, Spike Drake. Well, Spike, charmed and delighted to meet you, the girl began. My name is Rarity, and these are all my friends. Applejack. She motioned to the cowboy hat-wearing girl. Howdy, she greeted him. Fluttershy, the girl with the long pink hair, looked sheepish and avoided eye contact before speaking softly. Hello. Twilight Sparkle. Nice to meet you, the girl with the pink streak in her hair greeted. And you already met Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash. Rarity finished, as Spike looked at the two with Pinkie Pie waving high wildly and Rainbow giving a smug smirk. Nice to meet you girls, Spike greeted them, while trying very hard not to gaze at their figures. So back to my question, Rainbow continued. You know this is an all-girls school. So why are you here? Before Spike could answer, a woman's voice spoke up. There you are, Spike. I've been waiting for you. The seven looked ahead and saw an adult woman with hair in a mix of pink, blue, green and cobalt. Principal Celestia, the girls gasped. The principal, Spike asked himself, finally meeting the woman who sent him the letter. Thank you so much for escorting him, girls, the principal thanked them. We didn't actually, Fluttershy spoke up, only for Spike to interrupt her. Yes, I couldn't have found this place without them. He winked at Fluttershy and the girls. They blushed at his cover for them. Celestia spoke. Well, come into my office and we'll talk. Yes, madam. Thanks again, girls, Spike said, as he followed the principal into her office. The girls were confused as Rainbow spoke up. What the hell was that about? I think he just thanked us for something we didn't even do, Applejack answered. Looks like that's his way of being nice, Twilight said. Kinda weird to me, Rainbow replied. Oh, I don't know, I think he's kinda cute, Pinkie admitted. The girls looked at her until Rarity spoke up. He does look quite adorable. Kinda short though, Applejack noted. Suddenly they heard the bell ring. Oh no, we're late for class, Twilight called as the six ran to their classroom. Inside the principal's office, Principal Celestia sat behind her desk as Spike stood before her. Standing at the principal's side was not only the vice principal, but Celestia's younger sister Luna, who had long blue hair. Now then, Spike. First let me and my sister welcome you to Canterlot Academy. Celestia began. Thank you, Spike thanked them. We understand how this can be a new experience for you. But as long as you follow the rules, don't step out of line, and treat others with respect, then you will receive the same in return, Luna said. I'll keep that in mind, Spike nodded. Celestia reached into her desk and pulled out a schedule. Now then, this is your class schedule. When you get to the girls' dorm after school, meet with the dorm leader who will assign you a room. Yes, ma'am. And by tomorrow we should have a male uniform selected for you to wear on campus. Do I really need a uniform? I like dressing the way I am, Spike complained. Sorry, Spike, but those are the rules, Celestia replied. He sighed. If you insist. Good. Now Luna will escort you to your first class. Luna walked to his side. Shall we go? She asked the boy. Yes, ma'am. He nodded. Before they left, Celestia had one last thing to say. Oh, and Spike, do your best to not go wild with my students, she teased. Spike blushed up and stammered. No, ma'am, wouldn't even think of it. Celestia giggled at his reaction as Luna showed him out. As the vice principal and Spike walked through the hall, the boy spoke. Your sister has some sense of humor. Oh, I know. When we were teenagers and even kids, she'd always tease me to no end. Not terribly bad, but always one with the tricks, Luna explained. Well, I can assume Sibs do that, Spike answered. Yes, but despite our little jokes, we love each other and get along as sisters should. Good to hear, Spike smiled. They stopped in front of the first room. The teacher here is Ms. Cherylee. She's very nice and will help you in any way she can. I must go now. Will you be fine on your own from here? Of course, he answered. Well, have a good day, Luna said as she went back to the office. Spike looked at the door and knocked on it. Come in, a voice called from inside. Spike opened the door and stepped inside, seeing the classroom had at least 20 students, all being girls obviously, that were about 2 to 3 years older than he was. And their teacher, Miss Cherylee, was a good-looking woman with pink hair curled up front and flowing in the back. At the sight of Spike, all of the students were in shock and gossiped. Isn't that the boy from outside? Why's he still here? He looks cute. Spike looked at the teacher. Miss Cherylee? Yes, that's me, she answered, before realizing, oh, you must be the new student Principal Celestia informed me about. New student? The girls cried in confusion. Cherylee nodded. Yes, girls. The principal and vice principal have decided to see if the academy was capable of becoming co-ed. So they brought this young man here as a means to put that idea to the test. Girls, this is Spike Drake, your new fellow classmate. Nice to meet you all, Spike greeted them respectively. Cherry continued, the principal expects you to treat him with care in order for this test of theirs to work. A student raised their hand. Yes, Cloud Chaser. How long until the principal decides if the school can become co-ed? The girl asked. She's giving it by the end of the year, and if things go well with both the students and faculty, it'll be up to them to make the final say. She answered, I know this is awkward for you girls to have a boy here at the academy, but trust me, you're not alone in feeling that way, Spike assured them. Cherry nodded. Now girls, what do you have to say? The girls stood up and bowed their heads. Welcome to Canterlot Academy. Spike smiled at their hospitality as Cherry spoke. Now then, Spike, find yourself an empty seat, and we can continue class. Spike nodded and walked through the desks, while noticing the girls were still giving him looks of wonder, smiling at him, and some smirking lustfully, which sent shivers up his spine. He finally found an empty seat right next to the girl Fluttershy. He looked around and saw the rest of the girls she was with were also in class. Excuse me, is the seat taken? He asked the shy girl. No, she answered. Mind if I sit here? I don't mind, she answered as Spike sat down. Thanks, he said as Fluttershy gave a small smile, and the two paid attention like the others as Cherry began her lesson. About 3 hours later it was time for lunch, and all the students were in the cafeteria of the building getting lunch. Spike entered and saw the cafeteria was enormous. He spoke to himself, I hope the food here is as edible as my last school's. He went to get in line. When he received his food, he looked at his burger and a batch of fries. Well, it looks good. With his tray filled with food, he combed the cafeteria in search of a place to sit. He looked around and saw some tables were filled with groups. Do I ask to join them, or would I just be intruding? He thought to himself, before spotting an empty table. Maybe I'll sit solo for day one. Before he could approach the empty table, a familiar voice called out to him, Spike, over here. Spike turned around and saw it came from Pinkie Pie, who was sitting with the rest of her friends at a table. Spike, seeing they all looked like they wanted him to come over, decided to join them. He sat down next to Rainbow Dash and Twilight. Thanks for inviting me. Well, it didn't look right for you to think about sitting alone, Twilight said. Yes, you're not very social, Rainbow inquired. No, but being here truthfully is a big change for me. We can imagine with you being the only guy here in all the years this place has been around, Twilight said. Spike nodded as he took a bite out of his burger. Applejack spoke up. So how do you like Canterlot Academy so far? Sure is different from my last school. It's bigger, cleaner, and has more girls here than I've ever seen in my life, he answered. Well, you better get used to it, bud, Rainbow said, and Spike nodded. So why is it you were chosen as part of the principal's experiment? Rarity inquired. Well, Principal Celestia and Vice Principal Luna required a male student from one of the other schools that was one of the best and brightest. Coincidentally, I was at the top of the list. Did you accept the offer right away? Twilight asked. Actually, I almost turned it down, until a twist of fate changed that. What do you mean? Fluttershy wondered. My parents had a job transfer which meant we'd have to move overseas. I wasn't all for the idea of moving, and since I couldn't afford our house all by myself, I took the offer to come here where I would at least have a dorm roof over my head. Makes sense, Twilight admitted. Speaking of, I hope my bags arrived there in one piece. Plus I got to check with the dorm leader about my new room, Spike said. The girl smiled as Twilight spoke. Well, you won't have to look far because I'm dorm leader. You are? He asked. So after school, I'll be sure to help you get settled in at the dorm. Thank you. He smiled. No problem. So, since we're on the topic of getting to know each other, can you girls tell me about yourselves? Spike requested. We'd be delighted to, Rarity answered with a smile. Oh ho, me first, Pinkie cheered. I handle all the school's parties and special events by making sure everything's in perfect condition to party. I also love sweets. I can imagine, Spike said, now knowing the source of her hyper demeanor. I'm an athlete, Rainbow said. There's no sport I can't handle, but my top best are soccer, track and basketball. You play any sports? Well, I also play soccer, but back in Little League, though that talent hasn't gone away. Cool, we may have to see what you can do on the field. Perhaps later, Rainbow, Twilight said. I'm what you would call studious. In fact, I'm the top student. That's our Twilight for ya. Pinkie ruffled the girl's hair until Twilight fixed it. Rarity went next. I'm a fashion expert. I make clothing in my spare time, for both women and men. Sounds like a tough job, Spike said. It is, but the pay is to die for. I'm not really good at talking to others, Fluttershy spoke up, but I'm also very good with animals. It's true, one time she tamed a wolf that found its way on campus, Rainbow boasted. Spike turned to Fluttershy in surprise. Seriously? He was just lost and confused, Fluttershy explained sweetly. Applejack finished. I'm from out of town. My family owns our own apple farm. We supply the school with our freshly picked apples. She pulled out an apple and offered it to Spike. Spike, seeing her beckon him to eat it, took a bite out of it. When he swallowed it, his eyes lit up in delight. Wow, talk about juicy. Your family sure knows how to grow apples. Why, thank you, Applejack smiled. Spike, forgive me for asking, but how old are you? Rarity asked. 15, he answered. You're really that young? Fluttershy asked in confusion. Well, obviously, Spike answered, knowing what was on her mind. But you look, Pinky began, but Spike cut her off. Yes, I know. I'm short for my age. I think it's a genetic thing, but I'm not sure. We're sorry if we touched a sensitive subject, Spike. Twilight apologized. Spike, seeing they felt awful for prying, sighed. I'm sorry too. It's just because of my height that not a lot of people take me seriously, or even believe I'm 15 at all. The girl, seeing Spike was down, knew the best thing to do was to make him feel welcomed. Twilight patted his shoulder. He looked up at her as she gave him a comforting smile. Don't worry, Spike. We'll make sure you adjust to Canterlot Academy. Really? He asked. Rainbow patted his other shoulder. You bet, man. Stick with us, and you'll be a Canterlot Academy student in no time. Spike looked around, seeing Applejack, Pinky, Rarity, and Fluttershy nodding in assurance. Spike could only smile at how nice they were, and answered, Thanks, girls. And for the rest of the day, Spike continued to have classes with the 6 girls and many other girls. When the day was done, everyone was leaving the school and were on their way back to the dorms. Hey, girls, wait up, a voice called, until they looked over and saw a girl coming down the stairs to catch up to them. She had long hair in a mix of red and yellow. Hey, Sunset, Twilight said, as the girl stopped. We're weary, we barely saw you in class, Applejack said. Yeah, I was kinda helping in between classes with some of the teachers, she answered, until she saw Spike with them. Hey, you're the new kid. Yeah, Spike Drake. I'm Sunset Shimmer. Nice to meet you. The two shook hands. Likewise. So you helped the faculty? Well, more like just started. You see, I kinda did some bad things some time ago, Sunset explained sheepishly. Bad things? Spike asked. I caused a lot of trouble for the students here. Made them turn on each other, lied, cheated, and the list goes on. Sunset explains as if she's told this 1,000 times. Sorry to tell you my life story. It's okay, I learn from others, so when I realized the kind of person I was being, I set out to do a lot of community service around the school. Sunset, you finished all your needed community service a month ago, Twilight reminded her. I know, but I still want to do more to prove to myself that I'm different, she answered. While feeling guilty, Fluttershy comforted her, and she smiled. Well, we're all on our way back to the dorm to get Spike settled in. Wanna come? Applejack asked. Sunset smiled, sure, and so they started walking together until they reached the girls' dormitory. Spike looked up at the building, seeing it wasn't as big as the school itself, but big enough to hold just about every girl who was required to live on campus. Upon entering, Spike saw his luggage, boxes and bags in the lobby. There's all my stuff. What say we help you get it all in your new room? Applejack offered. Thanks, Spike said, as they each took something and followed Twilight through the hall before stopping at a room. This is it, Twilight said, as she opened the door, and they walked inside, seeing an empty room complete with a TV in the living room, bathroom, kitchen, a single bed, a closet, and a desk. Welcome to your new room, Spike. Thanks, girls. A little smaller than my old bedroom. Well, I'll manage, Spike said, as he placed a bag on his new bed. Need any help unpacking? Sunset offered. Don't worry, I can take it from here. Thanks anyway. Okay, we'll stop by later after we've decided on dinner plans, Twilight said. Okay, Spike said as the girls took their leave. Before closing the door, Spike looked around the empty room and knew it was time to give it a makeover. About an hour and a half later, the girls who were now dressed in casual clothes were walking back to Spike's room. I sure hope he's not busy, Fluttershy said. Hey, he needs a break like everyone, Rainbow stated. Hey, you hear that? Sunset asked, as they got closer to Spike's room and could hear music coming from it. When they reached the door, Applejack knocked on it as loud as she could to be heard over the music playing inside. Spike answered the door, releasing the full music onto them. Oh hey girls, sup, why have you got that on so loud? Twilight asked. What, it's not that loud, Spike said as he showed them inside. he turned the music down, and the girls looked and saw what Spike did to his new dorm room. The closet was already filled with all his clothing. His desk had a laptop computer on it, a few figurines of characters from anime shows, and a row of books. By the TV on the stand were 2 stacks of Feds, and on the walls were a few posters of heroes, like one being the mysterious Ne'er-do-well. His bed had fresh new bedsheets and covers he bought before moving out of his old house. Wee, love chocha done to the place, Spike, Applejack said, as she looked around. Thanks, I'm no decorating expert, but I try. I think it's fabulous, Rarity smiled, as she inspected it. Yeah, Rainbow began dryly. Fabu, whoa, she gasped, taking everyone by surprise. They looked and saw Rainbow was noticing the books on his desk. These are Daring Do books. That's right. Are you a fan? Spike inquired. Not just a fan. I'm the fan, she answered. Really? What's your favorite of the series? Spike challenged her. Tell you what, on 3 we say ours together, Rainbow said, and Spike nodded. Forbidden City of Clouds, the two gasped that they answered with the same choice. Damn, Spike, I'm liking you even more, Rainbow said with a grin. Feelings mutual, Spike replied, with a smile. Well, Spike, you're hungry, Pinky asked. I'm famished, he answered. Then let's go get something to eat, Twilight offered. Sounds great, Spike smiled as he grabbed his cell phone and wallet. So the 8 left the dorm and headed off to grab dinner. As they walked, Spike looked up at the sky and smiled while thinking, I think I could get to love living here. Author's note, to abide by the rules of using the sex tag, I had removed the mature and put it to teen so I wouldn't have to alter ages. There won't be any explicit sex shown, just heated moments. She